hair tarantula care video and a setup. Hey guys, now whenever we handle rose hair tarantulas, which I don't always recommend to handle them very often because they don't like that. They get stressed out. But when you handle them, you gotta be quiet. So we're gonna go over here. Let's take a look at this pretty little rose hair tarantula, and I'm gonna try to pick her up. She's probably gonna get a little quick on me because she has been today. Don't eat me. It's okay. Oh, see, the tank is kind of difficult for me to get a good area. Ah. Now whenever you pick them up, the best way to do it is have one hand in front and don't move it. All you need to do is touch the abdomen, no, not abdomen, the thorax, I believe, the butt. That's how you pick up a rose hair. Just very quiet and very slow, and she's spinning webs all over the place. That's how you hold a rose hair. Just put one hand in front of the other, and after she starts relaxing, she might start sitting still, but usually they're going to move very slow. That's how you hold a rose hair tarantula. Alright guys, so rose hair tarantulas are usually a very, very calm species, as this one here is. Every once in a while you get one that's grumpy or might move quick on you. She is a little difficult to get out of the tank at first, but after you get her out, she's fine. She's never flicked hairs on me or rose her front legs up at me or anything like that, especially whenever I'm holding her. She is very active. She likes to move around her enclosure a lot and spin webs everywhere. The rose hairs are one of the best beginner tarantulas, if not the best beginner tarantula. There's a few others out there, but I would highly suggest this to be your first tarantula. Alright guys, so there's also a possible danger of always getting bitten. And with rose hairs, they do have hairs on them that they like to flick. Sometimes even if you were to ever touch them, you can get them on your fingers. And what the real scare is if you get them on your fingers, it's like fiberglass. And if you were to touch your face and they go into your eyes, it really burns bad. You can also inhale them and they be in your throat and can really scratch up your throat really bad. So that's why you always want to keep a calm demeanor holding a tarantula. You never want to make them angry. You don't want them to flick hairs at you or anything like that, because it can hurt you pretty bad. It does suck. So the average rose hair setup would usually be around a 5-gallon. Some people do have them in 10 gallons, and 10 gallons can work just fine. You just want to make sure that they're able to find their food and water properly. If it's in a 10-gallon tank, you want to make sure that they have their hiding spot pretty close to the water bowl, because these guys are blind and it is hard for them to find their way to their food and water. As you can see here, I have the water bowl on the right side. It's actually the front of the tank because I have it slid into this spot. It's actually missing right now from there, so I can video this a lot better. But the water bowl is right here, and what I actually use is rocks in the water bowl because tarantulas can drown if they have too deep of water. So I make sure that there is enough spaces in there that she can be able to get a drink but not actually drown in it, because also crickets and any of your other food, if they get in the water bowl, they will die. They are not too good about getting out of water bowls. Another enclosure that's good for them is actually these critter keepers here. This is the large critter keeper, and it is around a 3-gallon, I would believe, maybe a little bit smaller than that. This is actually a 5-gallon tank. Actually, it might be a little bit bigger though. But this is smaller than a 10-gallon. This right here is a 10-gallon that I have split up for my scorpions. But with every tarantula, you want to make sure you at least have one hide. She actually has not been using this hide very much. She actually likes to She had a spot dug under here, but I had to move it to, I was actually cleaning up her tank earlier, so sorry about the glare, it's kind of hard to see. But this is where she usually sits and hides. She had a bunch of webs that were spun back here and dug a little hole, and she was sitting in there a lot. And with her, I actually hand feed, that I will take a pair of tongs and wiggle a dubia roach in front of her, and usually she'll take it. So whenever you have a larger tank, and like I was saying before, it's harder for them to find their food in a larger tank. That if you know where they're hiding at, you know their hiding spot, you can usually take a piece of food and put it in right with them, and they usually will snatch it right up, spin it up, and start eating it. Whenever I say spin it up, they like grab it and they twirl it around and start finding a good spot to bite in. They need about 70% humidity in their bedding, and 70% in the air is fine. If you're above that, it can cause mold, and if you're a little below that, that's okay. I wouldn't go below 50% humidity. It's actually been really dry down here in the pet room because it's winter and it stays very dry. The way that I feed my tarantula is actually about once a week, just because I feed her a full adult dubia roach, and that is usually enough food for her. If I try feeding her anymore, she won't even take it. I usually just run away from it because it is a pretty large piece of prey. In here I have all of my dubia roaches. As you can see, there's a lot of babies and a lot of nymphs. If you do not know anything about dubia roaches, they can be illegal in some states and some areas. So, but wherever they are legal, I would say if you aren't feeding dubia roaches, look into it, because it has been one of the best investments I've ever done with my pets. I don't have to buy insects hardly anymore at all. These guys live for 2 years, and they breed like wildfire once you get them going. When feeding your tarantula, you also want to make sure that their food is gut loaded, and what that means is that you are feeding your insects a good diet. I actually feed my dubia roaches a cricket diet that I buy from a local pet store, and I also make sure that they keep hydrated. That I use these water crystals that are sitting up here to keep them covered up so they don't dry out. I have a whole care video on these guys. If you'd like, you can click wherever it pops up on the screen and watch the dubia roach care video if you're interested in that. For substrate for a rose-hair tarantula, I actually use what is called Eco Earth, that it seems to hold humidity very well. It comes in a brick form, and it is rather cheap, and it looks very natural for an enclosure. People also use peat moss and orchid bark and other plant mattered substrate. You can also use a sand and soil mix. Usually 50-50 is the best, but use play sand and topsoil. And it needs to be 100% pure topsoil. You don't want anything added in it that's going to harm your animal. But as I said, I think this Eco Earth stuff is the best. It is a coconut husk grind. When it comes to heating and lighting is not usually necessary. You don't need to have a heat lamp or anything like that. Usually it will roast your tarantula, and they actually don't really care for light too much. As you can see, she's kind of curled up right here just because I've been handling her. Probably my voice isn't helping too much. Just wanted to show you guys this. But whenever it comes to heating, I actually use a heat pad. This is a heat pad right here. Whenever you house something like this, you do want to make sure you have something that closes properly. I actually have a little lock spot right here, and I just put that little stick in there, and it keeps it from opening up, and she's not going to be able to climb on out of there. Rose hair tarantula's average leg span usually is around 4 to 5 inches. They can get a little bigger, some stay a little smaller. This one is around 4 inches, so it's about average. So they are a decent sized tarantula. When she's sprawled out, she's about the size of my palm area right in here, which is still a pretty big spider. I will say, whenever it comes to the price, the size of enclosure, and the care, the rose hair tarantula is probably about the best beginner tarantula out there. As I said earlier, it is Probably one of my favorites, although I do like the Goliath Bird Eater, and I like a lot of the Cobalt Blues, and there's a ton of tarantulas that I enjoy, but this is still one of my favorites, even though almost anybody that has tarantulas has a rose.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Check out my other YouTube videos. They're a lot of fun making them, a lot of fun making them for you. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video, and if you enjoy cars, fast cars, cool cars, old cars, whatever, check these guys out. You can click on my chest and you see the ramblingaround.tv. These guys are really cool guys and they have very professional videos. Thanks for watching.